Welcome to Yacht Femme, where we talk about the women that make the yachting industry. I'm your host, Andrea Tagliaferro. Learn who they are, how they got into yachting, and what they do today. Meet Leeann Iacino, Chief Operating Officer at Engel Völkers Yachting. Leeann is a senior executive with extensive experience in branding, restructuring, reorganizing, IT systems, and building engaged, talented teams in the real estate and luxury industries. With proven leadership, she blends strategic thinking with common sense and integrity, consistently seeking to innovate and keep brands engaged with their consumers. Leeann possesses exceptional organizational skills and effectively manages multiple P&Ls. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Yacht Femme. I am super excited to have today Leeann Iacino, COO of Engel Völkers Yachting. I'm sorry I messed up the name, but I hope that's okay. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what do you do in yachting?
Sure. Yeah, that's a lot of vowels to talk about, so I get why it's hard to pronounce.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I do run our yachting division on the business side. I'm in partners with Walter Johnson, who's been a lifelong boater forever out of Southern California, and he's a professional sailor as well. And I've been in real estate for years in both Colorado and Southern California, and now Florida, on the yachting side as well. And when we met, I'm like, wow, who represents your buyers and sellers on the real estate side? And he said, I don't know, but I've always thought about it. Such a great coastal lifestyle living, and how do we marry the two? So that's exactly what we did. About 7 years ago or 8 now, we figured out an exclusive yacht to real estate to yacht referral network. And we now partner with Engel Völkers, which is a global wide real estate and yachting company. And we started and run their yachting division for them for North America. So that's kind of how it all happened. And, we love people like living the dream lifestyle for coastal living.
Wow, that's quite the undertaking. Congratulations. That's pretty big.
It is big.
So you were saying you are in Florida. Where in Florida are you?
We are in Naples, Florida.
Okay, so do you make it to all the shows? Because I know I met you at the West Coast at the Newport Yacht Show. So what is, I guess, your main demographic? Because you say you have all of North America.
Yeah. So we have offices in Newport Beach, California, where we started, in Tiburon, California, in Northern Cal, and then here in Naples, Florida, and then also Annapolis, Maryland. So, as I explain to people, just because we have our flagship offices, we list ship, buy, sell, charter anywhere in the world, because 2/3 of the world is water. So it's kind of nice we can have those flagships. So we go back and forth from Southern California to Florida all the time. We're literally every month we're one or the other.
Yeah, I missed you at the San Diego Boat Show. I was super excited. I was like, I'll see Leanne again. No, I did not.
Yeah,
But,
I had
but I
just
hope
left
to,
Newport. Yeah.
maybe I'll see you at Monaco if you are
Oh,
planning to attend.
that is the one we have not been to yet, and I'm really dying to
Really?
get there.
Ah, well, maybe we'll drag you in. We'll
Yeah.
drag you there.
Oh, you don't need to
Um,
drag. I'll go.
well, then come. I was gonna go and say, well, it sounded very seamless how you got into yachting. Can you give us a little bit more of a background of how really that journey developed?
Yeah, when I moved to California from Denver, obviously Denver is a landlocked state, even though there's some quite large lakes that have boating. Once I moved to the coast, and I've always been fascinated by the water and everything that has to do with waterfront, people enjoying their boats, just whether they're using them, sitting on them, chartering them, whatever they're doing. I just really love the lifestyle, and that's kind of how it happened. And then I started taking sailing lessons in Newport Beach, and never knew a darn thing about sailing, and now I do and really love it. And really just watching Walter in his, career tracks and understanding yachting better being on people's boats now a lot and understanding why they love the lifestyle really is why I got into it. I think it's just such a neat, unique luxury lifestyle. And, when we say everything, everybody's boat is their luxury because it is a luxury to have a boat. And it doesn't matter if it's 20 feet or 200 feet. It doesn't matter. It's their luxury. And I love that.
Yeah, it definitely is a luxury lifestyle. It's so nice that you get to go on boats all the time. I would love to know more about sailing, but I don't want to derail your conversation. I'm dying to learn about sailing, and I've heard you're in Newport. You're right there in Marina. There's so many options for you. What are you waiting for? It just seems like a very rewarding thing to learn.
It
Um,
is very rewarding. Gosh, it's just so, and I love power boats too, because power boating is so much simpler and wonderful in all its own ways. And yet sailing is wonderful too, but you have to know what you're doing out there. You can't just go sail a boat, you really have to know, how to read wind, read currents, read weather much more than you do power boating, and pay attention to wind shifts and all those things and how to maneuver that, with a spinnaker and sail. And it is definitely more complicated, but it's also, like you said, it's really rewarding. It's just magical.
Well, I'm hoping everyone that's listening enjoyed all that vocabulary because everything went over my head. But I'm hoping that one day I'll be able to follow along everything that she said. I don't know if this will date me too much, but I watch Friends a lot, and and I've rewatched the show now many times. I don't know if you've seen it, but
Oh yeah.
Joey at one point is being taught how to sail by Rachel, and I can imagine being that person. I was like, to the
Yeah.
right, to the left, knocked over, and Andres just gonna be knocked over and just eating
Mhm. That's
sandwiches
pretty
while the
much how
boat
I
is
learned.
docked. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, it takes a while to get the hang of it, but once you do, it's great.
um, let's go back to more about you and what you do as the CEO in yachting in Engel Völkers. Can you tell us a little bit about your role and basically what do you do on your day to day?
My day to day is really the operations. So it's marketing, making sure we're getting all of our marketing done from online to if we place ads, if our advisors, we call our yacht salespeople at yacht advisors because we really believe in advising through the process, not selling them through the process.
Mhm.
And, so it's a lot of marketing, it's a lot of operations from making sure our listings are correct on our websites, working with our financial team for, budgets and things like that from technology. Are we using the right technology, implementing now AI into our, yacht sales, our website, making sure Google pages are always up to date for SEO. Are we doing the right SEO? Are we keeping up to date with all the changes that are coming constantly within the industry and in the way you run your business? I mean, to me, it just every year it changes so much that if you're not keeping on top of it, you kind of get ran over. So, how do we, constantly train our teams on business planning? We do a lot of that. Our sales meetings, how do we, give them information that'll help them compete? And then the strategy around social media, strategy around marketing and branding and keeping our, website relevant, all those kinds of things, just constantly learning.
Well, I think between SEO, like there's a lot of stuff that you mentioned just now, but between SEO and social media, they're really constantly changing both of them.
Constantly.
Um, those that are not don't know about SEO, but these are just the keywords that you use to align your website with those keywords. So when people are looking them up on Google, you are associated with them, right? But conversations are constantly changing. So keywords that were relevant today are actually not part of the conversation tomorrow. So that keeping up with both of those and social media is just ridiculous at this point. It's just I'm happy. I forget there was an app during COVID that became available that it was like live audio. I forget the name, Clubhouse. I'm so happy that that one didn't work out because when it came out about it, it was like another one that I have to learn. I can't.
Yeah.
White flag, we're done.
Feel the same way. Yeah. It's so much. And it's so time consuming.
Yes, it is very time consuming. That's when people tell me, "Oh, everything you're describing is like a full-time job." That's why it is a full-time job for a lot of people.
Exactly.
Um, can you tell me a little bit, CO, I feel you're also have a more entrepreneurial role within the company.
Mhm.
So what does that actually look like for you? What is it to work for the company as well?
So I do work a lot with, I think that's a great question because I am an entrepreneur at heart. I've been an entrepreneur almost my entire life. Took a little short break with corporate and went right back into being an entrepreneur. And I just think there's just something so great about building what you're passionate about and building it how your vision is and what you want people to experience with your brand. And I love that. And I do work a lot with our headquarters in New York City. They do, obviously that's the branding, the major branding comes from them, the guidelines, and then we build our own brand around that with yachting. Engel and Völkers also started in Hamburg, Germany, and that is
Hmm.
where the global headquarters are. And Engel and Völkers is a very large real estate company in Europe. They also have Polo, a wine division, our yachting division, et cetera. I could go on and on. So they're very much a lifestyle company, and that's really my job is working with them in how do we incorporate that into our yachting world and sell yachting as a global lifestyle.
And I actually didn't know the so many of the sub companies that you just mentioned. I knew I was familiar, of course, with yachting, but and real estate. You mentioned that headquarters is in New York, and of course the headquarters in the ones that are based in Europe. Where is the yachting headquarters? Is that the one that you mentioned in New York?
No, that's us. So we
That's
we
you.
our flagship is Newport Beach, California, and here in Naples. And it's important to be on both coasts just to serve customers on both coasts.
Yeah, I've heard so much talk. I heard that before COVID of how people weren't paying attention to the West Coast, but it seems like you guys have been paying attention to it for a very long time now.
Mhm.
Um, there's a lot of wealthy individuals on this side, and many of them just, yeah, they may have their boats in Florida, but they actually reside or their main residence tends to be in California. So I love that now more and more. Again, you guys have been doing it for a very long time, but I do see more people paying attention to the West Coast, and I love it because now I'm here. So I'm selfishly very excited about this. um, you were saying that you weren't corporate, you entrepreneur, corporate back. Now, definitely, this is definitely still an entrepreneur world
Mhm.
role. Can you pinpoint at least to date could you say your biggest accomplishment is in yachting or in maritime?
I think the yacht to real estate to yacht referral network, no one has ever done it. No one has ever made a division or figured out the compliance piece. And it does go hand in hand. Most of the people who have a boat have a home of wherever it is. It doesn't even have to be waterfront, but most go hand in hand. And I do love that piece because we are unique. Our exposure and our reach is unlike any other yacht brokerage. And I really love that. And people love that. And everywhere we go, people are interested in, oh, that's interesting. And it gets people to talk. And, I think on whether you could say boat or home, it each has their own great niches in it, but it's when you combine them, it creates a whole different conversation. So, and the people we meet are just phenomenal. Like we get to meet a lot of interesting people and their backgrounds are fascinating. And for the most part, like any salespeople, but most of them are just really great clients to have they become our friends.
Um, Even from when you started the answer, I was like, that makes all the sense in the world. Yeah, I don't know why it's separate, owning a yacht and then owning a home, but I've heard the story a lot from yacht interior designers. When you hear a lot about like, how did you get into yachting? Well, I was in residence, and then the owner of the home or my client, because they're not owners when you're talking about residential or commercial homes, he wanted to get a boat, so they brought me to the boat show, and then now I designed the boat. But for them it's always been hand in hand, but I feel not for other people or other sectors of the industry.
Yeah.
um Are you guys the only ones that have merged the two?
Yes. Yeah, it's exclusive to us.
Why is it exclusive to you? Or is it like you're the only ones that have figured it out yet to
No
date?
one else, no one else does it. There's yacht brokerages who may have a sponsor of a real estate company, or there's real estate companies who have a partnership with a yacht brokerage, but no one has married the two like we have together under one umbrella.
It's true. Now that you're saying it, I have seen competitors, no name need to be mentioned, sponsoring a lot of boat show events, but
Yeah,
they're sponsoring either brokerages or boat shows themselves, but they're not really in both sectors aside from,
correct.
being a logo there on their swag or other kind of merchandise.
Yeah,
Um, so that is definitely a huge compliment. And thank you for sharing.
yeah.
Have you've been in the industry now for some time. Have you seen any changes or even where do you even see the industry going? Yeah.
That's a great question because it is changing so much. And I think, it changed a lot in COVID, obviously. Um, but it's still based on people's passion. We are seeing the largest sector, obviously powerboats sell more than sailboats, but you still get your diehard sail people who will never own a powerboat. Um, but I think as far as trends, I'm not sure electric is all there yet. People say that's a big deal, or
Yeah.
hybrids. I think people would like it to be and certainly makes sense, but it's just not there. It seems to be in the super yacht world, wellness is becoming a bigger and bigger piece to these big yachts. And how do they make it more of uh, a home instead of just a trophy? How is it more usable? How is it sustainable? I think sustainability is a big talk in our industry, especially for our oceans. It's important. So I think a lot of that has come a long way. I think it's got a long way to go, and we'll see how these next 5 years or 10 years, things keep changing, but it's still, motors are better. I think systems are better. The ease of use of boats are better. The average boater can now use boats much easier. I think docking
Yeah.
systems are better. Everything just keeps getting better. It's just going to take time to see, how it all shakes out of what really keeps selling. But it is shifting based on, I think, our economy, gas prices, what happens. Slip costs are still out of control in most areas, and we're really short of marinas. So, what can transpire to help that, I think, is really important going into our future for boating.
Really interesting. Yeah, completely agree with you. I'm happy electric is coming and it's here. It's not coming. Long way to go to catch up
Oh,
to the current technology, the most popular one there. But we'll definitely get there.
oh yeah.
Because you are definitely one of the first ones to learn what yacht owners want. Is that something that you hear a lot, like new generation owners? Do they ask for sustainability? Is this something that you hear, but you don't hear a lot of it? Like, what percentage of your conversations are really about sustainability when it comes to owners?
Not a lot. I think the younger generation definitely is more important than maybe previous generations. I do think in the super yacht world and things like that, it is important. And I like I said, I think definitely the younger generations, it's more important to their values than it's been in, say, the generations prior to that, and prior to that, because they just didn't have a lot of options either, right? So now that it's
Yeah.
becoming to the forefront, and there's more of an awareness around how sustainability can be better. I do think that's going to get much better in yachting, and I think that's exciting. Especially, our oceans are everything we have, so it's got to get better in some cases. So I really hope it keeps improving.
Um, Something I love asking is, can you tell us something about yourself that maybe we don't know, we don't see often, or we don't know about you? Something we don't find on LinkedIn, basically. And if I
Oh,
run up to you at a networking event, it's like, this is something I can use to connect with you. That's what I really want to know.
oh, that's a great question. Um, even though I live in coastal environments, I love the mountains. I mean, it's how I grew up.
Mhm.
I love
Yeah.
hiking. I love anything outdoors. I'm a big outdoors person. And I have fallen in love with pickleball, which, like every other adult, it's like adult crack, I think. I don't know. Once you start, you just kind of can't stop. So I do love that. And I also love being a mentor to women. I get asked a lot about career questions and things like that because I have done a lot, and I
Mhm.
love giving back in that area. There's not a week that doesn't go by. I get asked something in, can you help me look at this at a different way, or help me with a decision or whatever, something. And I love that. It's a huge passion of mine.
So then I'm gonna have to follow up with a question. What is your most frequently asked question when it comes to women mentorship, for example?
It's usually, if I feel stuck, and I've got this opportunity, what are some questions I can ask to make sure it's the right opportunity, or
Mhm.
I want to go out on my own. How do I start my own business, and what do I need to look at? Or I've had my own business and I'm not growing. How do I get it? How do I take my business to the next level? My daughter's an entrepreneur, so it's really fun to be able to coach her and watch her business grow and flourish. And a lot of her friends are entrepreneurs, and I love that. I love that generation's not afraid to experiment and really going after what they love to do. I absolutely love that.
That's great. And how rewarding is that? Not only you're helping people, but you actually can see your daughter like it's like
Yeah,
a best case study, like seeing
yeah,
her evolve.
it's great.
I think that's a really good one. Not only how to get in, but the second one you said is how can I grow? That
Mhm.
is very beneficial. I know we're running short on time, so I'm going to ask you the last question so you can head out. Is
Thank you.
what advice would you tell yourself, or what do you wish you had known if you were to start yachting or maritime tomorrow?
Um, that's a great question. I understanding, it's really interesting to me, and this is an obvious statement, but I think until you're really in it, in different coast, each coast is so drastically different in boating itself and in how boat sales are done. Um, the inconsistency in this industry fascinates me because real estate is so regulated and so controlled and so looked on, and yachting, I think, is coming to its own. I had no idea how kind of old school it was until I got into it. And there's some really great industry leaders, changing the trajectory of yachting. And I love watching those people and reading about them. And um that's, I think, just understanding, you can still pave a way in your own way, even though it's kind of an old school industry. It never lasts. Real estate used to be that way too. It used to be way behind everybody else, and now it's kind of caught up. So I think understanding, and the buy cycle so different. The buy cycle can be immediate because I've got that passion and I just want it
Mhm.
now, or it's a long time. Or if you're doing a new build, it's keeping your client interested in that process, which can take a while. And, you know, understanding, because there's so many more factors in a yacht sale. You've got how weather is a massive one. How well did they keep it in weather? I know there's a lot of people who don't even think about that. And I know that sounds odd because it's so obvious, but they don't. They don't. It's like, did they maintain it? Did they tell the truth about it? Was it a hurricane? Did it sink in water? Did it not? Did it have maintenance records? And I think the technology even coming out and following maintenance records is so critical, because we get sometimes to the finish line and you're like, oops, I forgot to tell you about this. And so anyway, I think understanding those nuances in yachting is important, but it's come a long way even in this last year and a half, and I think it's going to continue to.
So many amazing points. I could have like a whole other 30 minutes with you just on what you just said. But one thing
Sure.
that really triggered me was I actually know someone that's hiding that the yacht got struck by lightning.
Ugh.
Um, And they told me, we can't say that in writing. And I was like, but you say it all the time
Oh, you
casually
have
to
to.
people. And I was like, yeah, but when it's about to sell, it'll go down in price. And I was like, but it got hit by lightning. Like, how are you hiding this?
Have to disclose.
You have to disclose. Okay. I know we had a tight schedule, but before you jump off, I want to know, how can people follow you? How can they stay up to date on you and your company?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm so grateful. Anytime I can talk about women in yachting, and I love there's more and more women getting into yachting, which I think is fabulous. I'm on Instagram at Leeann Iacino. I know, real original, but it's my name. And then on Facebook, Leeann Iacino, and LinkedIn, Leeann Iacino.
Actually, you make it really easy for us, because every time I want to meet someone at an event, they want to tag them on Instagram, they have a completely different name, so I can never
Yeah,
find them. So thank you for that.
I try to keep it
So
simple.
everyone, if you don't know how to spell that, do not worry, because all her information is going to be in the description of the show. So you're just going to be able to click and follow her. Thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
you. It was great to see you. Thank you so much.
Great to see you, and I hope to see you in person soon again.
Yes, you too. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to Yacht Femme. If you like what you heard, please like, subscribe, and comment. Your comment will help us reach a broader audience. And don't miss the next episode. Bye!